Okay. So good evening to all students present here, those who are present actually for the day.
Good evening, sir.
Ask all your classmates to do join in fast. Okay. Let us start with the discussion. Today's topic is, of course, in regard to the status of the women. And whenever we are talking about the status of women in India or across globe, what all things are coming in your mind? If someone can unmute themselves and can say what all the things we actually usually talk in regard to the women in India or across globe, whenever we are talking about the status of women, what can be the consideration points, sets, subsets, whatever you are thinking, what is your knowledge or your understanding of that? Please let me know. Then I will give you the brief. If someone can write it on the chat box, that is also fine. What you all are thinking for?
Sir?
The status of a woman. Yeah. Yes, please.
Sir, nowadays women are achieving their success in all fields, even in defense fields also, sir.
Yes.
Army,
yes.
Navy, Air Force.
Of course. Any other view? It means more women are going towards the job. Okay, and they are achieving not only the education, they are going towards a sector which is called a defense, and the toughest place to work in. It means good. Anyone else? Those who would like to say in regard to the status of women in the present scenario? Anyone? Or anyone would like to actually write it on the chat box? You are free to write it on. Because you all are girls and you should know exactly what either the challenge set for the girls or how we are or able to handle both family life and professional life, of course. Yes. Any other thing? Okay, let me give you one. Those who are unmuted. Okay, let me give you one basic idea whenever we are talking about gender per se. What is the status of a man or woman? Of course, or we are taking in a whole the subset of development. What we are actually taking it as a consideration. They want to be independent. Of course, yes, and they should be independent. That is what the mantra for the development of the society is always. Okay. So whenever we are talking about the consideration for the status of women or consideration for the status of a society, if you go towards something which is very much connected towards the census of India, okay, the population census, they are taking a consideration or they are taking a note of each and everything on that. So how they are giving the status of a woman is, firstly, they are defining it as per the literacy rate. What is the current literacy rate of India? How many percentage of women are actually educated? How many men are educated? What is the percentile of both the things? What is the variance between this for the men and the women? So the very first status of a woman in India, or of course the development of women, whenever we are discussing is the literacy rate will be the first point. Coming to the second point, of course, what can be the sex ratio? Sex ratio in the sense, what is the difference per thousand male members? How many female members are there? That is what we are actually considering. Why? Because why we are taking the consideration of why we are taking the account of men towards women, because usually in India or across globe, there are instances where the infant mortality rate for the ladies are less due to two of the reasons. One is, of course, the medical reason, and second is the violence against them. The fetus being killed, knowing that if this is a female child. So that is why they are taking the concern or the count against the male members. So the very second consideration for development of any society, development of women is the sex ratio of that particular city, town, area, of course, the country. Then comes the life expectancy. Uh, Earlier, the life expectancy was somewhere low. Okay, it was very much low due to the medical facilities which were not suitably presented in our country. But slowly, this get enhanced, and we get a better life expectancy. We get a better medical treatment, and if we compare it to the other continents like South Africa or other parts of the world, we are actually progressing on that. But still, life expectancy towards male to the female and across globe is a variance whenever we are going for a count. And this is the third subset which we are actually taking as a note for the development of the woman. Why I'm just writing it down or telling it to you that these are the sets and subsets for which you need to actually understand, or you need to start presentation, or you need to start looking around for that. Then comes the infant mortality rate. Whenever the kids are there up to 5 years or 6 years of age, usually we have a higher mortality rate earlier. Of course, if I take the case of 1970s or 1980s, the mortality rate of Indian child, of course, not only for the women, for the men also, for the boys also, it was very high. The diarrhea was there, dengue was there, malaria was there, and likewise, so many diseases are there which was not curable, or otherwise we were not aware of, or our society was not aware of how to take the precautions and what can be done. What can be done actually to get rid of this? How we can make their health better. So these were the some challenging points where, because of which mortality rate was increasing. Okay. So then comes, wait a while, let me mute someone who is. I request others, those who are joining, please mute yourself once I'm talking on the session. Then comes the child mortality, which I have covered. The infant mortality rate and child mortality rate is altogether the same. Only the age difference is there. For infant, it is up to 6 years of age, and above over and above 6 years comes the child mortality. This you need to take care of once you are designing anything which is discussing about the women development or the status of women in present scenario. Moving on to, once we grow up, although it's an fact that everybody will die in one day or other, but what is the ratio between the maternal mortality rate? Once a woman is going to become a mother, how many instances or how many cases are there because of that the deaths are actually accounted? So this we need to take care of because whenever we are talking about the women as per se for the development, whenever we are talking about the women as a society or as a life expectancy, this is one instant where so many cases are there while giving birth to a child. Women actually either because of the medical negligence or because of the complexity of the medicines or something otherwise, the death is actually been there. So this also needs to be a big thing for whenever we are discussing on the status of a woman as in development. Next comes, which you all are actually, you guys just now, you guys have mentioned that nowadays women are going outside home. They are going for different jobs. They are opting for different jobs like defense also. They are going for agriculture. Starting from agriculture based society, the India as it was, then slowly it moves to industrial development, then moves on to the government organizations comes down, then private organizations come down, semi-government organizations come down. There is still a organized sector which is working, and there is something which is very much unorganized sector, which is very much unorganized in terms of acts, in terms of rules, in terms of accountability of the people, accountability of the individual. So some people are working in that particular sector also, that is unorganized sector. And a very astonishing fact, which you all might be knowing this, nowadays our agriculture, the limit of agriculture is actually decreasing, and the number of people, those who are into the agricultural labor, I mean to say agricultural labor means they are working in their in the field, but they don't own the actually that particular field. So many people are now opting out, because earlier what is there, more and more people were working as an agriculture, as a farmer. As a farmer, it means they own that particular land. उनके पास वो land था. They are actually owning that particular land area, piece of land, and they were doing the agriculture. Slowly, because of industrial development and other developments, or because they move out of their cities, they move out of their town area or village areas, and once they came back, they found that something is not there in their hand. That is the land, because more or less it get divided also, and they are having a less land. So what they did is they sell it out and move on to cities and towns. Like the COVID situations, they came back, and once they came back, they don't have that particular land in their hand. So what they started doing is the work of a laborers. That is what been called as agricultural labors. And it's not only because of the COVID-19. It's because of the earlier situation, because of the development, or I must say, or because of the industrial development which occurred, and the people, those who are impatient towards earning or making going for an income generation, they move out to the city areas or town areas. But what they did is they actually sold out whatever they have. The less land, of course, they have in their hand, but still they sold it out. And once they came out of once they came back to their villages, they were not at all with those lands in their hand, and they started doing the labors, acting as labors across village areas. So that is what been increased, like said. And women, as per se, for the development, as per supporting to the men, supporting to the family, they also started working as an agricultural labor. So whenever you are taking this thing as an status, or statistically when you are framing it out, that employment is one of the consideration for society development or women development, just do consider that how many women are working as an agriculture labor too. It's not only that men are working as an agriculture. So up to now, if anyone is having any queries, please let me know, or I will proceed on to the next updated one, what we are need to discuss actually. This is just an overview that how we can actually see the status of women in India or across any of the countries, if I talk about. So any of the observation, anything which you would like to add on this? Anyone? You can unmute yourself. Patriotic mindset. Yeah, of course, patriotic mindset in the sense of once women choose to be wearing a uniform and going towards doing the duties either in defense or the police. That is what actually. Women are more in agri than men. Yes, of course. If you take the case studies in Uttar Pradesh, Western Uttar Pradesh, if you take the case studies of Punjab, if you take the case studies of Haryana, you will find this more actually. In Haryana, more number of ladies are working in agriculture rather than comparing towards to the men people, those who are working in agriculture. Same way, if you take the case studies of West Bengal, more number of ladies are working in their either the factories or the shops rather than compared to the men. So there is a good variance actually. If you really try to work on and read on or do the study on these things, these states, you will find a better actually set of knowledge how exactly the status of women in it is variable from state to state. If you go to Maharashtra, there will be a different statistic. If you go to Karnataka, statistics will be different. Even the education per se also the statistics will vary. I do agree on this. Any other comment? So, or else I will move on to the next one. No other comment? Okay, let me start sharing one of my presentation today. Is my screen visible to you all? Yeah, can someone tell me? Is my screen visible to you all?
It's visible, sir.
Which one? This one? Can you see this Word document with topic status of women? Yeah, can someone confirm me that is it visible to you all?
Sir, it's status of women document.
Okay. So see, today I am going to discuss in form of text, of course, in form of my presentation. What we will discuss is this is the first data as per the previous census, that is 2011 census. This is giving a brief structure how and what exactly the status of a woman in India as per 2011. Of course, this is going to be refreshed in span of 2 years or so, because 2021 census was due, but due to COVID, it's going to be postponed. But very soon, country will go for a census again, because every 10 years we are going for a census. So as per the census, if you see, there is a different, if you say, just take the case of the literacy rate, and there is a variance in Chhattisgarh for female, if you see, it is 60%. And in Uttarakhand, it is 70%. And somewhere it is 81% in Goa. So, of course, it's a very small state, but catering to the people or making people to go on for, or people are coming for education is higher. By this, you can very well say that, okay, although the state is very small, but the people across these states or government across these states is working good. And one more thing, of course, the difference is there. If you see 87% of the person total is there, 92 is male and 70 is female. The difference is huge, although it's a 17% difference is there, but they are maintaining somewhere 80%. It's good sign. Likewise, if you see the above one, this is also, they are maintaining 87%. Okay. So states like Goa, state like Gujarat, they are maintaining a good percentage for men and women also, and for overall also. So this is what the data is saying. And as per this data, we can actually judge on which state is doing wonderful work or tremendously fine work towards their people, and how many people those across the states are coming in for education. How many states are actually talking about the women per se for education. If you see this, those who are coming below 60, if you just see, this is coming below 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So out of 28 states, 7 are still below 60. So it means there is some gap area left out. towards educating more and more women in that particular states. So, and states need to actually think for that, and people around the states also need to go for it. Even this statistically, if you go through it, it can build up a competition across the states that that particular state is going, why not we? So that is how actually the competition comes in once we are rolling out any of the policy or once we are talking about any of the initiative. Likewise, if you see uh, this thing, I was talking about the sex ratio. This sex ratio females 1,000 per males. That is what I was discussing. Okay, so how many are there? So if you see the Kerala state, it is crossing 1084. Kerala is always good in terms of all of the this thing development initiatives. Either you take the case of education, this is C 96, 92, 93. A very small minimal variance is there once they are going for an education either for the girls or the boys. So this is a good sign, of course, for the state. Even the sex ratio is higher as compared to all of the states. So, and this can be a role model for others. Likewise in Puducherry, see 1038. So this is actually depicting that which state or which union territory is working fine for the development of the women in their states. So let me go through. Okay, so of course this is what the data was as per the what you call census. But more and more stories are coming if you see in your daily televisions or your newspaper. More and more number of crime rates are coming. And this is what I am actually depicting here. Um, this is a story given, not story, of course, a report given by NCRP that how many cases are there for the crimes and what types of crimes actually are there if we talk about ladies or women per se. So see, as per a total of the story starts from here, of course, how many types of crimes are there? See, if you take the number of crimes for against women, the number of crimes are kidnapping and abduction, then offenses against public tranquility means okay, crime against women, crime against children, juvenile in conflict with law. Okay, so these are some of the basic crime forms which NCRB has actually quoted. But if you see crime against women, a total of 4,05,861 cases of crime against women were registered during 2019, just 2 years back. And there is an increase of 7.3% over 2018. So there is an, of course, increase in that. Majority of cases under crime against women under IPC were registered under cruelty by husband or his relatives. This is very, of course, astonishing to see that the crime which is being done for against the woman, this is more because of this thing, what you call the relatives or the known people are actually doing this. Okay, followed by assault on woman with intent to outrage her modesty. The second very most astonishing case is, suppose a woman or a girl is working in your office and you would like to actually outrage her modesty or you will like to actually harm her by challenging her modesty. So this is one of the case. The third case, of course, is kidnapping and abduction of women, which is 17.9%. And rape is the least one, that is 7.9%. Of course, this is very much tragic, which is happening in India and which is happening in various states and various forms. The crime rate registered per lakh women population is 62.4 in 2019 in comparison to 58.8 in 2018. So this particular subset or this particular report of NCRB is very much alarming that crime against women are really actually increasing. Even if you see the crime against children also, the same thing is there. And kidnapping and abduction is more and more, of course, in number. Likewise, public tranquility, of course, it is there because more number of cases, the cases of offenses against public had decreased, of course, 17.6% in 2019 as compared to 2018. This been reduced, but still it is accounting as 72.9% of total such cases, which is really alarming. If you see, if we all see that this NCRB data, it's actually an eye opener for all of us. Let me go what did it say actually in that particular scene? Majority of cases under crime against women out of IPCs against were registered against cruelty. This is what actually been depicted there. Outrage are mostly 27%, kidnapping 22%, and rape 10.3%. The crime rate per lakh women was 58.8 in 2018 as compared to. This is as compared to 2018 to 2017. An earlier slide was 2018 and 2019 variance. So difference of 2 years was there actually. So what exactly, see, our Indian culture is known worldwide for cultural bonding, for social bonding and all. With the passage of time, so many negative attributes are coming in, so many concerns are there. High return from social society is been actually the talk of the town. Now people each and everywhere, every cities, every places, we are talking about the safety. Whenever our girls, whenever our wives, whenever our ladies out of the home, everybody actually in the panic mode. Sooner or later, she comes in, we all actually are keeping ourselves as a peace or feel as an ease. So why these particular things are happening actually? Or is it really only these things are happening? Government is not at all doing anything for them? No, it is not like such. Of course, government is doing for them. And what all the forms government is trying to do actually, let us go through what all the legislations and what all the schemes or the policies government is working on for, so that a safety can be tackled or measures can be tackled in and across the workplaces. So let us go for what all government are doing, what all the things, what all the activities, what all the policies which actually acts or rules because of which governments are working or for the government is working for the women. So I'm just taking first the legislation, then I will cover up the other initiatives also. Some of the initiatives which government of India actually has rolled out across all the states, all the 30 states. So very first legislation which government has come out in the year 1976 is Equal Remuneration Act. As per that, Constitution has given an organization is been empowered that there will be an equal pay to men and women whenever they are working in workspace. That is, if they have the equal qualification, they have an equal experience. So there will not be a variance between, or there will not be a difference between the pay. Although the cases are there, but still government of India has done a mandatory legislation, has prepared a mandatory legislation that Equal Remuneration Act will be there. And those who are actually not maintaining this particular act, they get penalized for that and they get punishment for this also. So this is an act came in the year 1976 and which have several developments in across that. Then comes the Child Hindu Marriage Act. As per this Hindu Marriage Act 1955, which got amended in 1976, the marriage age is been actually enhanced. Earlier it was somewhere 14 to 15. And because of this act only, now the age of a girl at least should be 18 years and not below that. And if someone is not actually following that particular thing, he or she or that particular or people or that particular family or organization get reprimanded or punishment also. Connecting to this Hindu Marriage Act, the Marriage Amendment Act came in. And this is talking about for not only Hindu, for Special Marriage Act, for Parthi Marriage Act, for even for the divorce. And this is talking not only for the marriages, this is asking that whenever there is a violence against any of the women in the family, or a lady is asking for a divorce, or lady is asking for maintenance, just she is asking for a separation with her husband. So this particular Marriage Amendment Act 2001 is actually helping out. This is giving power to those ladies that okay, the case can go in fast track mode, and they can get the speedy disposal towards the application for maintenance and of course the divorce also. Next comes in 1956. In India, of course, and across globe, so many people are into money making by way of human trafficking, and women or the ladies are the very first target for this human trafficking or this immoral trafficking across the globe. You all know how it's been done and what for it's been done. Been done only for the sake of money. But government of India has, in the year 1956, with this particular act, the Immoral Trafficking Act, Prevention Act, it's been amended in 1986, and it's been condemnable offense now. Those who are actually found guilty under this particular act, they go for life imprisonment, max to max. They're getting life imprisonment. And likewise, if we go for an Dowry Prohibition Act, you all know and we all know how many cases are still coming up for dowry deaths and all. And whenever we are talking about the Dowry Act, this particular act comes in and play the role. That is for Dowry Prohibition Act. And under this particular act, which get amended in the year 1984, earlier, if a woman commits suicide within 7 years of marriage, this particular act is being subjected, or this particular act is playing the role. Now, this particular year, the 7 years, is being increased to 10 years. So whenever there is certain things which is actually, or certain complaints coming in regard to dowry death, the year of marriage is also taken into consideration, and then this particular act is working for. And then comes Child Marriage Restraint Act. Of course, this I took earlier also, because in the Hindu Marriage Act also and in Child Marriage Restraint Act also, the age has been enhanced. For girls, it is 18 years, and for boys, it is 21 years. A very problematic thing, or very much in space for women to be actually taken into consideration whenever they go for this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971. See, whenever a woman is going to be a mother, the very first consideration, still I remember some of the stories coming across various cities or various states, that the more consideration for them is whether the child will be a girl or a boy. And I'm very much pleased to say, or not happy to say this, that still people are going for the termination of that particular pregnancy because of the girl child. It's not good, of course. If this can be the cases, then how we can be having a PT Usha or Kalpana Chawla or others, or like of Indian cricket team, that women cricket team or hockey team? How we can produce those good meritorious women, those who are working for country nowadays? So people need to think we need to create an awareness. We need to actually make people to penalize for that. And because of this to be done, that okay, this particular act is penalized, it contains a penalty, it contains a life imprisonment. This particular act comes in, that is Medical Termination for Pregnancy Act of 1970. Coming down to the workspace, whenever we are talking about the workspace, so many people are there, and we are working in a society, and each and every person is having a dignity in space of working in form of course, as a man and woman. But if you see in a society, all fingers are not the same, and all people are not the same. So there are some of the people, those who are actually always targeting the dignity of the woman, of course, those who are working, or trying to exploit the women, those who are working in their workplaces, just to safeguard those women, just to given protection to those women, those who are working in workspaces at different offices, either in the corporate or the government offices. This particular act, which has been known as Indecent Representation of Women Corruption Act, 1986, this came in, and it is actually protecting the women whenever they are working in their workplaces. Just to connect with this particular, if you really would like to connect on this particular act, POSCO and POS is very much actually relevant to this particular act, which is working in the workplace. And in the year of 2013, that particular act came in. And now all the organizations, even the institutions, those who are having a more than 20 employees, and if they are having more and more female members or the girls working in there, they have to go with the POSCO, and they have to frame a committee also there, and need to visualize each and every act of the organization for that. So just it is that POSCO and the POS is very much connected to this particular act. Then comes the protection of women for domestic violence. Of course, it comes in 2005. It's been very late, of course, I must say, that this act comes in, that whenever there is a domestic violence against a woman, either by the husband or the family members, she was not able to actually raise a voice. But in the year 2005, this came as an act, and because of this now, she can actually ask for the support by the government and state government also. So this is what the acts have been actually given by the government of India, so that all those organizations, society, police people, they can actually help all those ladies, those who are working, and those who are, of course, not at all working also, still they can live a peaceful life. Now, any of the queries in around this, please let me know. Anything? Anyone? Just I'm waiting for your any of the queries, or if you would like to convey something in around this, or you would like to know anything about the specific act like POSCO. How many of you know about the POSCO? Visakha guideline. Yeah, that is what actually Visakha guidelines are coming under POS and POXO. Let me give you a small idea in regard to Visakha guidelines. Visakha guideline comes in the year of 2018. This was the case happened in state of Rajasthan. Okay, and the legislation has given that particular power to all those ladies and asked all the organizations to work against as per that particular guideline. What that guideline is saying is that is coming under the POSCO Act. Okay, and POS and the POSCO both the acts. It is asking organizations to frame a committee. Suppose if I am I'm working in one of the office, and I'm going to frame out that particular committee, that internal committee against sexual harassment. POS is defined as prevention or against prevention of sexual harassment. That is what the POS is. Okay, so they need to frame a internal committee there. In the internal committee, suppose you are going to form an internal committee, and there are 10 members total in that particular internal committee. Out of those 10 members, 50%, it means 5 of the people will be women. The ladies will be there in the committee. That is 5. I'm just giving you an example so that you can understand that 50% of the committee members will be women, and 1 member will be there who will be an outsider, an external member. He will be representing, he can represent through NGOs, he can represent through different, you can say, high court or lawyer. He can be a public policy professional, he can be a head of any of the other institution, but he will be an external member to that particular organization. Suppose I am working here, and that number, I need to actually ask for, I need to go for framing out the internal committee. So I have certain number of female candidates in my premises, I will ask them to be the internal committee. After that, suppose I am going for a 4-member or 5-member committee. So I will ask at least 2 members, ladies to be there, or 3 ladies to be there, and 2 members. I will be there, and 1 external member will be there. Those who that particular person will not be the part of that particular organization. The idea is same, or idea is very simple, that there shall not be the biased decision whenever the occurrence of that, but some instances are there. Now, what this internal committee is doing, suppose I am giving you both the cases. If the cases are nil, of course, if you don't have any of the cases for an year, you need to still frame out this thing, prepare go for an internal committee meeting quarterly once, and you need to submit a report that there are the nil cases in our organization annually at least once. This is to be adhered strictly. All the organizations which are coming under POS, they need to adhere this strictly. Now let us speak about, if suppose something comes in, or any complaint comes in regard to sexual harassment for the woman, what internal committee has to do is, they need to actually frame out, again they need to call out all the internal committee members, ask the this thing lady to come in, give the this thing complaint in writing, ask the member against whom the complaint is there. You need to frame out an inquiry. You need to set up an inquiry against that. Inquiry is to be recorded, but that inquiry need not to be published anywhere. By the time, whenever you that particular lady or the particular woman is going for a complaint, what she needs to do is, she needs to inform the same thing to the nearest police station also, or nearest thana also, because there can be the chances that decision will not be there by this internal committee, or there can be the chances that the people or the defaulter, the complaint against whom is there, he is also a member of that particular internal committee. Sooner it happens, that particular internal committee will get dissolved if the complaint is against that particular person who is the part of that particular committee or the head of the institution. So there can be the chances that decision will not come on. Sooner this happens, the internal committee gets dissolved. Again, they will form the internal committee. But by that particular time, that is time frame of it will take some time. At least 1 month to 2 months it will take. And again, that internal committee will set up. It will sit on. It will go on for inquiry. It will go on for discussion, and then the deliberation will come on. Sometimes it takes more than 3 months or 6 months. By that time, if the discussion or decision is not there, so then you are actually rushing out towards getting the support from your local police station or thana. Thana in charge or in the local police in charge, were you sleeping at that particular time or that particular moment? Why it's not been done? So what you need to do is, you need to complain to your organization also, and you need to actually file an FIR in your local thana also. It is mandatory that suppose this thing, the decision is not coming in, then the decision of IC will not follow in, suppose in time frame of 3 months or so. Then local administration has to come in and play the role to give the justice towards that particular complaint. So this is how it's to be done. More deliberation can be discussed on, but today just I am giving a short all the things, what all the acts and what all those laws or legislation which can support a woman or the girl whenever they are working in workspace. Now coming to anything still left out, please let me know. Moving on to the government schemes. There are certain schemes which are helping around across states working. Some 3 or 4. I am just discussing 3 or 4 government schemes, and then I will give a deliberation on what's been done actually by government up to now, how much budget is being allotted for what, for the support of women. Let me give you one of the example that how government is actually helping. See, government is coming out with, government is actually helping women in various forms. So there are some of the schemes, initiatives which are working by and large in pan-India basis. So this Mahila Samaksha is one of these particular initiatives. This has taken the shape of women movement, changing the lives of women across 14,000 villages in 60 districts of Karnataka, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, and Uttaranchal. As this has been stated and this has been started, it started in the response of national policy and that the earlier what we are actually calling as a new education policy now. Earlier, it's been stated as a national policy on education. Only the terminology is actually different, but the theme remains the same. And this particular being actually given, this particular initiative or the idea is being actually given by National Policy on Education 1996, and based on that particular thing, this Mahila Samiksha has been taken up. What they are doing is, along with women non-formal education, it centers. See, what they are doing is usually this National Policy on Education has come out with an advice that all the states shall be having a some of the centers or non-formal education centers. And of course, this has been appreciated by all the states, these 9 states, and it's having a good pan-India presence. This it's not only that 14,000, now each of the state and each of the villages are having some form of this Mahila Samiksha scheme. And they are not only talking about, or they are not only teaching about the non-formal education to them, they are also talking in these centers about the health issues. They are discussing about the human rights and the governance being given in regard to this human rights, the safety of the human females members, and the health issues. Very oftenly, there are several health issues actually for women to be there. So this Mahila Samaksha schemes and is working on that particular thing. Then comes the step. This is a very actually visionary program of Government of India. What this particular step is asking for or doing is, this is creating a support to train and getting an employment for the women. And what all those traditions or the sectors in which they are working for, they are giving skill training towards agriculture, animal husbandry, dairy farming, fisheries, handloom sector, handicrafts, khadi and village industries, sericulture, social forestry, wasteland, anything, or I must say everything which is in and around the people, those who are staying in villages or town areas. So this particular step scheme is very much great initiative given by Government of India, and so many centers are working in India. And KVIC, Khadi and Gram, Khadi and Village Industries Corporation, KVIC and KVI is helping around to implement these particular schemes in all the districts and all the blocks of Government of India and all the states, of course. It's very impressive, actually, this particular initiative. You must go through this particular initiative, what and how the STEP scheme is working out, supporting the women. Next comes the Swadhar scheme. Swadhar scheme is, of course, this is, if you see the Swadhar, it means, again, reforming, giving support to the ladies, those who are in difficult circumstances. Okay. So this scheme was launched in the year of 2001-2002 for the benefit of women in difficult circumstances. It's been actually a simple shelter home for all those ladies, those who are deprived because of the woman, because of the husband, or because of the family, or because of the financial status, or she is left out. So that is what being actually done through these shelter houses. There are the primary shelter houses which are actually catering towards the need of all the women. The needs are being catered like they are giving the food, clothing, and care to them, to all these marginalized women and girls who are actually in difficult circumstances. All the WCD, the Women and Childcare Development Centers, um, in states and of course in Government of India also, they are working toward this particular Swadhar scheme. Names are different, the nomenclature can be the different, but each and every state is working towards this. And they have interlinked so many organizations to actually get the support of these ladies. Earlier, the skill centers were not actually supporting this, but nowadays, last year, you can say 20 years or so, so many skill centers are actually linked to this particular Swadhar scheme. So many other initiatives are actually coming in and giving an awareness to those ladies, those who are actually deprived because of the uh, either the marital status or because of the men or because of the family. So this is very great initiative supporting all those uh, ladies, of course, and women. Now comes the Swavlamban scheme, a very great initiative given by Government of India in the year 1982 to 83. And this particular scheme, this Swavlamban scheme, earlier it was an agency which is supporting to this particular scheme. That was a Norwegian agency funded by international organization. But this scheme is being rolled out, going to be rolled out, of course. It's been rolled out in Government of India in various states. But a larger version of this particular Swavlamban scheme is going to be happen because of SIDBI. What SIDBI is doing is they are asking around 100 centers in each of the districts. All those districts of India will be having some hundreds of Swavlamban centers. So all those women, those who are actually looking out for the support, the poor and needy women, those who are there, to get the training on or to hone the skill. Even they are giving the policy advocacy by these Swavlamban schemes. And it's very well in a near future, I must say that they have rolled out this thing, expression of interest, and in time frame of 3 months, they are going to shortlist various agencies, various NGOs to initiate this. And very soon, this Swavlamban scheme will be in a very larger form. Of course, it is there, but it is going to be in a very bigger form with policy advocacy and support given by all those Swavlamban schemes to them. Last but not least, of course, if I am talking about the women, um, you cannot go without any of the support given to the women for their health and their child health. Whenever we are talking about women, these two things, the reproductive and the child health, will be the primary, of course, support which they require, either deprived or, of course, not. In any of the form, in any of the society, women require the support for these two things. That is for reproductive health management and the child health programs. And just to help on and just to give a support on this particular RCH scheme has come out. It's been launched in the year 1997. It's been long, of course. Uh, um, this particular scheme is there and supporting in all the states. This RCS program incorporates the components covered under Child Survival and Safe Motherhood Program, which is being funded by Government of India. So this is this. I'm just stopping here. My presentation of today's, that is what all programs being run by Government of India. Why I took only these 3 or 4 programs? Because these 3 and 4 programs which are being reflected here, they have a pan-India presence. Others, of course, they don't have so much pan-India presence, but they are supporting. So this is what I was covering. Please let me know any of the doubt for today's presentation. And then I will give a 10 pointer how other things are actually rolling out. been rolled out in this 7 years or 10 years by government of India. How we can add SHGs. Of course, we can add SHGs. SHGs are helping out in all the schemes. SHGs are, of course, supporting partner. And but there is one thing which is to be actually because of which some of the SHGs are still left out. We need to create an awareness drive for the SHGs that they have to go for enrollment. They have to register those SHGs so that they can get the support. I'm going through several NGOs and several SHGs across Lucknow, across Uttar Pradesh, for Mission Shakti programs, giving a policy advocacy to those SHGs and the support how the government schemes are coming in. But one thing I found, most of the SHGs are, they are not at all aware that which government or which particular department or which particular ministry is giving the support to them. This is very astonishing actually. Suppose these ladies are working, hundreds of ladies are working, and then they don't know about where to go, which organization is to be, how to get registration, how to register their body, what all those loans and schemes which are actually supporting them. And the biggest challenge for these SHGs are how to market their books. See, I was with one of the SHG which was working with Tata Ji. The Lucknow Tata Center is actually supporting some of the SHGs. So I was discussing with those SHG ladies. That was an offline meet, of course. I went there. So they were discussing that, sir, we are actually making candles in our centers, and we are not getting opportunity to sell our candles. And because our organization is not registered, we are not getting any of the support. So I asked one of the lady, of course, those who are supporting to all the SHGs. Firstly, I asked one of the CSC center, Common Service Center, that please register these SHG centers as per the requirement. Secondly, ask them to visit at least once the KVIC center placed in Gomti Nagar, Hazratganj, Lucknow, so that at least they should go there. They should see what all these KVIC and KVIBs are working. They can even place their whatever the production is being done by them. They have a specific even this thing forum where they can place their things, whatever they are preparing. They can show cause, but they don't know actually. Sir, why can't we advertise this as we are doing this Beti Bachao Beti? See, we can advertise this. Only thing, Anuji, the problem is, suppose, see, I am discussing with you. You all are aware about this. And sometime, some point of time, you will get connected to me. You will ask me. We all can actually arrange for ourselves. But there are certain instances, or there are certain villages, or there are certain town areas where SHGs are working, of course, but they are not registered because their heads, those who are actually supporting them, those who are in direct connect of them, they are not actually giving the specific support which they are looking for. The biggest challenge for all the SHGs is market linkages. Although it is very much simple, ask those SHGs to actually add their whatever they are actually preparing. Any of the stuff they are preparing on, just link their stuff to any of the e-marketplace. A very simplistic method to actually help on all the SHGs. So once you are working, see, all you people are either working for, going to be working in social development sector. You will be coming to you will be actually coming in connect of all these SHGs. Whenever you are working with any of the SHGs, just ask them to actually scale their market or get their market through e-commerce model. E-commerce model in the sense, just train on them using that particular mobile set. What I did is actually, when I went to that SHG which is linked to Tata Ji, okay, Tata Center, I asked one of the person, those who are the youngest. There was one girl who whose age was somewhere around 20 years or 18 years. So I asked her, did you have a mobile, any of the mobile? She said, I have a mobile. Okay, I said, you just open the Google. She was very much eager to open the Google and seeing the movie and seeing the stories and going through the Facebook. I said, what all you are doing? See, if you can use the mobile phone for a Google, for a Facebook, why you cannot help these ladies to actually market their products? Open this particular website, go on, register yourself by your individual name, give your Aadhaar card, give your PAN card, that's it, and start marketing your products with this particular actually website. By this only, these 20 ladies will get the support. You are the youngest out of this. So we as an youngest people, we as an known people or aware citizens, we need to help them. They are not at all actually aware about where to market, how to market. So this needs to be done. And this is not the one way actually out. Whatever the government schemes, why can't we attach it with Anganwadis? We can attach it with Anganwadis. Not the problem that you cannot attach them with Anganwadis. Only thing is, some of the SSGs, if they are not registered, you cannot attach them. They require a proper registration first. Just going and forming a society or going and forming an SSG with 20 like-minded people will not work. If they really require a support, they need to register themselves. That is what the thing is. And if they are not registered, what we can do is we can actually help them to register, where to go and how to register. That's it. If we are just we are imparting this particular support by registering SSGs in the specific ministry, they will get the support. Or even by registration, the support can be extended through the ministry people. They can come, they can very well actually then see on the board how many SSGs are there. In any of the awareness drive or in any of the form, then these SSGs can actually go through for the various programs actually coming in for the support of SSGs. Now, I will give you out some guidance just for 10 more minutes or so. It's been 5:12. I can say people are very much impatient after 1 hour or so. Let me give you one detailed actually understanding how the fund is being coming and what all the governments are doing for those initiatives for the development of women, how the status of women. If you see the case of Nirbhaya Fund, what's been done by that particular Nirbhaya Fund, you might be knowing that there was a corpus being actually done for 2,000 crores once the Nirbhaya Fund actually happens. And what all government has done actually because of that. Did anyone know about that particular fund? And did anyone know about what exactly they have come out by that particular fund? What they are doing by that? In Uttar Pradesh, what they did is they initiated as 1090. Likewise, a universal help number, of course, is being given to all the states. All the states were given some of the this thing what you call universal help number to all the ladies being given, and the money is being transferred to 33 states and UTs, and some 187 units are actually helping out for this initiative, this particular initiative that is called as universal help number for the ladies. Even some of the buses are now having a what you call ring, this thing, what you call red sign bells are there. One-stop centers are being actually initiated by this, but not because of Nirbhaya Fund. One-stop centers were, the pink booths were there because of the Nirbhaya Fund, but not the one-stop centers. In Bangalore only, what they did is one-stop center. In Hyderabad, they did it for the one-stop center. In Uttar Pradesh, they call all the CSC centers to help on this, and they form this 1090. Then comes government has given a Mahila e-Heart. This is what been discussed earlier. SSGs can very well actually go in. They can vouch they can register themselves in the on this particular portal, that is Mahila E-Hat. And because of this Mahila E-Hat, all the ladies, it is irrespective whether they are registered or not, they are part of any of the SSG or not, but they can actually prepare any of the step and they can register and they can sell it out. This Mahila E-Hat is very much helpful for them. Then comes the Sabla scheme. You might be aware about all these Sabla schemes. Sabla scheme is having they have initiated this particular scheme with a corpus of 585 crore. And this Sabla scheme is helping for the people, for the child health, child care and nutrition more. In Delhi government, they are very much focused towards the Poshan Abhiyan because of this Sabla scheme. Likewise, other states and other states are also working using this particular corpus of 585 crore. Then Swadhar Grah Yojana, that is what I have discussed. But up to now, there are 16,530 units have been there, and somewhere 4,854 crore have been actually disbursed for this particular scheme. So you can very well judge on how the government is creating and support because of these particular fund and because of these units. Likewise, if you see the national education policy, due to national education policy, there is going to be a transformation in learning in so many ways. The National Trust scheme was already there, and national education policy is giving a yes note for National Trust scheme too. And those units, earlier there were somewhere around 5,004 units were there under National Trust scheme. So all those this thing Anganwadis will be working as a preschool now, and will be working as an crush system also for the ladies. And this will enhance, of course, this unit is as if in the year of 2021, these units are 5,004. But you can imagine once this new education policy will be implemented, there will be thousands of crush and thousands of course, preschools in India. Likewise, if you see the ICDS, those Anganwadi centers are there. This has been actually under the scheme of ICDS. And there are somewhere 13 lakh Anganwadis working, and 12,220 crore rupees have been actually spent on this particular ICDS scheme. So, likewise, step which we were discussing for the training of the and employment generation, there are somewhere 14,854 units are there, and 597 lakh rupees have been spent on this. For maternity benefit, this benefit is being given in cash and kind also, but in cash it is there somewhere around 233 crore rupees have been given to all the women. Under the maternity benefit in Uttar Pradesh, if you see, or not only in Uttar Pradesh, I think under Matratva Yojana, all the females, those who are actually coming under marginalized sections, they are getting 6,000 rupees. And not only 6,000 rupees, they are getting the support in kind for all the vaccination programs. The people from the health department, they are coming, they are giving the support for each of the activity during that maternity period to the ladies. So this is a very likewise Ujala scheme is there. Ujala scheme is supported by 442 crore rupees. Poshan and Suman also contributing for the same, of course. Thank you, Anujit. Thanks for that. And likewise, if you see the village facilitation center during COVID-19, why education got stuck up? Education got stuck up because of one reason, that our villages were not having good internet connection. They don't have that particular infrastructure. By that, I and you can get connected and give the learnings or give the classes virtually. They don't have a projector, they don't have a place to actually sit on, they don't have a system to work on, they don't have an internet. And that is why this education was actually stuck up. Just seeing to this, there was somewhere 161 centers were working, but this is not sufficient for the country like India. We have 130 crores of people. Somewhere 30 to 40 crore people are under education, coming under the purview of education. So you can see how 1,000 or 1,061 units will help out. No way. So because of the COVID-19 and because of the new education policy, Government of India has taken an initiative that they are now going for a village facilitation center across India for each of the villages. Although it will take time, somewhere 5 years down the line, we will be having these things. But of course, the support will be given to them. Likewise, Om Shakti Kendras are celebrating the girl child. You might be aware of that whenever there is a birth or whenever the birthday celebration is there for girls, some of the officials are actually going and supporting by the form of Purna Shakti Kendras. So this is one of the reform mission which is actually helping out. And last but not least, of course, this is integrated child protection units. Uttar Pradesh, of course, what we did is we have collaborated each and everything under the umbrella of to be actually incorporated under this. And because of these centers, welfare measures can be taken on for the skill development, for their education, for their upliftment, and for their good health, and of course, good well-being. That is what for today's presentation I was discussing. I was discussing more about how the governments are supporting, because we can very well say that okay, these many lacunas are there. This can be the impediments. Government is not at all doing anything. It's not like such. Of course, government is taking some of the initiatives. It's not one government. It's not an of course job of one government or the state of government or only the central government. This always goes hand in hand. Center is supporting state and state is supporting to villages and blocks, and that is what the chain is actually working on. So for the women status, I have narrated. However, this thing, what you call, the previous census is actually saying what all the things as per the NCRB data was like coming down the line, what all the crimes going around across the country, and what all the initiatives and what all the supports and schemes were there for the women. That is what for today's. Any queries, please let me know. You can write it on the chat box. And thanks, Anu, thanks for supporting me on the same. Anyone is looking around for help or anything? No worries and no questions, huh? No worries, no queries, no questions. All are actually okay. I request all to switch on your videos at least. I request all to please switch on your videos so that we can have and pick. Yes, all you all will get the this thing video, this thing today's presentation on the WhatsApp group. Where is our team leaders? Both the team leaders, please switch on your videos. Vibisa and second team leaders. So team leaders, did you prepare this thing attendance? How about the attendance, Vibisa?
Sir, I took for my class, sir, but other classes and universities I.
And how many are there today? 26. Where are others? Somewhere 45 students are registered. Why this much less attendance?
Sir,
These all are from MCW, or these all are from this thing, extension students? Who all are there? Vivisa, you are from MSW, I think.
yes, sir, I'm from MSW.
All these students are from MSW only, or how it is?
No, sir, some few only from.
So why this is some are from our communication extension and why from MSW? Why all are not here? And my question is this actually.
Sir,
Just
maybe.
ask Parvati madam. Just ask Parvati madam that 26 have were actually present only. Okay. Of course, she is there in the group. I will send her across today's attendance. Just prepare an attendance for today's and send me across. Okay. Rest.
Okay.
Thank you to you all patiently listening me. If you have any queries, please write it on the this thing WhatsApp group so that I can help you on. Do go through all my presentations, whichever I am actually giving it to you. Why? Because this will help you to support once you will prepare your presentation, or once you will prepare this thing, the research work for the book. That is why actually I'm taking each and every topic. Whatever the topics I am delivering, all those topics are the part of the program. Okay, and one or the other person will be actually writing on that. So this will be very much helpful. So rest, take care, enjoy your weekend. Today is Saturday, and so enjoy your Sundays. Thanks. We will meet next next week on Saturday, not on Friday. So next week classes will be there on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay. So thank you. I'm just logging off for today. Thanks to all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.